No job security. No benefits. Fewer hours. Rent a worker. False hope. Desperation.
I think that when you look at the 44 years, over 44 years that I've been involved in the labor movement, I've never seen an attack so orchestrated against working class people than I have today. I refer to it as the cancer in the 21st century on the working class.
That we have more temp agencies than we do Tim Hortons. And I don't drink coffee, but I can imagine you can walk any way 2 blocks and hit a Tim Hortons in the city of Windsor. To think there's more temp agencies and they're making money off the backs of workers and their ability to go to work was really bothersome.
The thing that sticks in my mind with these temp agencies is they provide people with false hope.
This poison where companies are making money off the backs of workers and not allowing them to be able to get any kind of security, any kind of benefits, and basically working at minimum wage. Some of these people are working at 3, 4, 5 temp agencies, working 60 hours a week, and it's horror story after horror story after horror story.
They called me on the Friday night. My last 2 weeks were going to be on midnight, so I assumed when I seen the agency on the phone that they were calling me to schedule my interview with the employer, only to find out that she indicated to me that my services were no longer needed. I was devastated when I questioned, why they were letting me go. The only thing she could tell me was that the employer had notified them that they did a future forecast of the headcount for the number of people that they would be needing to run their operations, and that my head was not included in the count.
The regime is all about, if you point out something that's a safety issue, there's not supposed to be any reprisals. But with the temp agency, it occurred to us, how do you tell what a reprisal is? And in this case, he felt he was being subject to reprisal because he wasn't getting called back for anything, including this work.
I've had, I want to say, 5 different jobs through the agencies, and the outcome all became the same.
So you got not only a 2-tiered workplace in terms of wages, but also in that social milieu where you don't fit in with the other workers. They don't really want to fit in with you because you're not going to be there for that much longer. There would even be a 2-tier safety regime because the guys knew that are long term in that particular workplace. There might have been a sense of kind of looking out for each other, but not with the temp agency workers. It was every man for themselves.
This particular employer had approached me 2 or 3 weeks into working for them as a temp and asked me if I would like to be trained to run the operations like their full-time employees. I was excited about it, so I decided to take on that chance, thinking at the end of this I would, come out with a full-time job. I had a few other temps approach me that had been there for a longer period of time that were not pleased with me because the employer had chosen me over them. But that was a decision that I had no control over. And I was told in the process, getting closer to my time, that I would be notified by the agency that I would have to go through a final interview with the employer. They called me on the Friday night. My last 2 weeks were going to be on midnight, so I assumed when I seen the agency on the phone that they were calling me to schedule my interview with the employer, only to find out that she indicated to me that my services were no longer needed.
What keeps me going is the thought that what we need is for workers to come to a place where we view ourselves as just that, workers. And it's not we who put the divisions between us, but the economic system.
I had a few other situations with workplaces through different temp agencies. I left the one, I thought I'd try another one thinking I'd have better hope there. The outcome became the same.
What we need to do is find a better way. So through the perception and the reality of what we actually experience, getting to a better way, we need to explain and show people that we can make a difference, coming together as working people, looking after our needs. Why can't we set up a structure where we allow individual employers pay for a service that doesn't necessarily circumvent full-time employment, but when there is a job search from that employer, it is through our employees they must hire. and at the same time create some minimal work standards to make sure that those individuals know that they will continue to go to work and they will continue to provide for their families, and not making minimum wage, but rather making a fair wage, a wage that they can at least have a couple of extra dollars in their pocket at the end of the week. And at the same time, if it's a nonprofit organization that's running that temp agency, you know they're not lining their pockets with the hard-earned money and sweat that you've put into that particular job. Those are some of the ideas that we need to come up with. Those are the concepts that we're putting on the table. And that's why we think that this is a win-win situation. It's a matter of reaching out to people, telling people how important this is for their future, putting some consistency in their lives, giving them a little bit of a better wage, but at the same time maybe providing them a minimum benefit.
When you look to the future, what is our future going to be like? What are our kids and grandkids going to have in their particular life to look forward to if all of their work is always tied on the whole question of, do I have a job today?
And people are desperate. So, your unemployment only lasts you so much time. The government harasses you when you're on unemployment. So these people are being forced to take a 10.25 an hour job. Some people have to take 2 just so they can keep what they have. I know a few people that work two jobs, 3 jobs. And it's frustrating because it takes away the quality of life for their families because they're not there. Plus they're broken because they're forced to take these jobs that are meaningless, and knowing that they're standing next to somebody else that's making twice as much money as them.
The whole goal here isn't to unionize workers. The whole goal is for people to be able to go to work, provide for their families, and know they have some type of security.
But they're looked down upon in these workplaces.